Welcome to Espresso Yourself, the podcast where mom life, running life, and teaching life collide.
We're three women juggling lesson plans, long runs, and real life chaos, sharing honest conversations about motherhood, miles, and making a difference in and out of the classroom.
Whether you're listening on a run, in the carpool line, or hiding out with your coffee, you're in the right place.
So lace up,
Tune in,
And let's do life together.
welcome back to Espresso Yourself. Today, we are going to spend some time catching up on the new things that have happened over the week. And I know Becky had some kindergarten stories to share that she didn't get to share last week that we are anxious to hear about. So, Becky, you want to start us off?
So, okay, I have kindergarten stuff to share. And then I also am venturing into the world of sourdough, which I know has been a trend. It's like everything. Kale was a trend. Bacon was a trend. Now sourdough is a trend. And I wasn't going to start it. But then one of my friends, she was like, here, I want you to sample some of my stuff. And I was like, well, I don't see why I couldn't do it. So, hold on. Sourdough stuff we got to start with because I just baked my first loaf today. And I was not sure how it was going to turn out. I consulted chat. And because who Googles things anymore? Not me. But chat gives me all the information I could ever need, very concise. So I consult chat and everything I need to do. I made my own starter because I wanted to see how that worked. And all I did was put flour and water and I mixed it up. And then I just fed it every day. And it turned into a sourdough starter so that today I could bake the bread. And it was quite a process to go through it because to make the dough, you have to let it rest and then you have to like fold it and turn it and fold it for 2 hours. And thank goodness the Bears game was on last night because I started the dough at like 8 o'clock and you needed 2.5 hours to do this whole dough making. And so I was very into the game. It was very intense. But I stayed up for the whole thing, watching the game, making the dough. And then today I baked it and I was like, I hope this turns out because I just spent 9 days prepping all of this. And for it to not turn out would just be pretty deflating. So I baked it today and it came out of the oven and I was just amazed by the no filter picture that I posted that was so golden brown. And then I had to get on Instagram and cut it for the first time to see how it turned out. And I don't know exactly how it's supposed to look, but it tasted so good. And it's 3 ingredients. It was flour, water, and I added salt because that's what the recipe called for. And that was it. And it's just, I don't think I've ever had fresher bread. It was amazing. So now I have to bake once a week. I said, we have to get rid of the bread that is in our house. We'll eat it, whatever, like as we normally would. But now we need to stop buying bread and now just make this because it's a little bit of a process, but I guess the more you do it, the easier it is. And then I can go through all the variations. But that was like the exciting thing for this week at home. At school, so I have 2 stories. One, I just like things that you never expect to happen in kindergarten or to say, or for the kids to say to you. One girl, she was like, I don't feel well. And if my students don't feel well, I'm like, go over there, lay down, take a pillow, just, you'll be fine. Because it's usually like they haven't had enough water or they're just tired or whatever. So she goes, can you call my dad? I don't feel well. And I said, lay down for a minute. Then she looks up and goes, can you call my dad? I'm bored. It's like, absolutely not. Then 5 minutes later, she goes, can you call my dad? I have to go poop. And I don't know how to wipe myself. And I was like, well, girlfriend, you are going to learn. I know it is a head scratcher, just things that I never like thought that I would have to talk to my students about. And here we are, like doing this. So I'm like, as a general rule, we have wipes in the classroom. It's part of the supply list because we use it, their hands get dirty, use a wipe. Like after snack, use a wipe. I handed her the wipes and a plastic bag and I said, do not put it in the toilet because the toilet will break and we cannot do that. I said, go figure it out. Because I said, if your stomach hurts and you're not feeling well, it's probably because you need to go poop. So she did that a few times. So that was last week, the story that I didn't get to tell. But this week, I have a little girl. She works really hard. She is still learning her letter names and sounds, but now we're starting to put them together. So she was in a small reading group with me and multiple times a week. And a lot of times, like, I have to tell her, you have to look at the board because if you look at me, like the letters are not on my face. It's not, this face is not going to tell you anything, but the board will. And so I was like, okay, look down at the board, look down at the board, not at me. She goes, but you're just so beautiful. I was like, that's so sweet. I love that. But now you have to look at the board because we have to get you to learn to read here. You need to connect all of this in your brain. And I just like, there's some things that you just remember that they're the littlest moments, but you're going to remember them forever. When I taught first grade 14 years ago, this kid, I don't remember his name, but his face is so clear in my mind. And we were talking, I don't remember what we were talking about, but like the conclusion of the conversation was, that's what happens when you wake up in Vegas. And I'm like, what? Oh, what? Like, what? Okay, your parents must have gone there and like had that conversation and you were listening to it. And it, of course, had nothing to do with what we were talking about in the classroom, but that was the conclusion of the conversation. And I was like, okay, moving on now. We're like, okay, now it's time for dismissal. And like, oh my gosh, those little moments in teaching that you just remember and, or like I had a kid 11 years ago in my second grade class go, like a day without Mrs. Heber is like a pizza with no cheese. I was like, yes.
Sounds like a
Yeah.
Valentine's card.
My God.
Does.
Yes. You're not supposed to have favorite students, but he was one of the two. One of the two. And I kept up with his mom. And, for like, even now, like, I would have gone to their graduation, their high school graduation
Yeah.
last year, but oh my gosh. Yeah. Crazy stories and teaching. So that was my week. That was it. Sourdough and funny stories from kindergarten.
You mentioning the little girl being sick reminded me of my week, my weekend. So, few things to share, but we were visiting college friends this weekend, which ironically, we see them a couple times a year probably, but we just saw her last week too because when we were down in Indy for our doctor's appointment, she stopped over at the hotel and hung out. So we actually got to hang out with her 2 weekends in a row, which was rare. But we always go down for her daughter's birthday, and it never fails that we get snow. Never fails. And we were joking last week, like, oh, I looked at the forecast. It says we're good. We shouldn't be getting snow. She's like, well, it's still a week away. Just wait. And of course, we got a bunch of snow. Thursday, we ended up canceling. They didn't send iPads home with kids because they don't take them home this year. We only send them if the weather forecast is iffy, which I don't know why they didn't send them home because they were already canceling events Wednesday because of the snow. They should have just sent them home. So because we didn't have the iPads, we couldn't do remote learning, and they just gave us a snow day, which is the first snow day we have had in probably 10 plus years. And so ironically, it was her birthday weekend. Of course there's going to be snow. Luckily, we went down Saturday. It was just more cold and snow for us to drive, so the weather was fine. The last few years, she's had it at gymnastics, but now she doesn't do gymnastics, she does rock climbing. Um, and so she does that once a week. She's in a little club. And so that's where they had their birthday party. And Oliver's like, he's a natural. He was climbing up that thing, loving life, which he gets that from my husband. That's my husband's jam, like rock climbing, ninja stuff. That's where it's all at. And Hayes, actually, he did the one where he had the rope and he was so nervous at first, but he got about halfway. I was super impressed. But they did like cosmic climbing where they turned off the lights and it was all black light. It was super cool. It was a lot of fun. So I'm like, gosh, Fort Wayne got a rock climbing place. We might have to go check this out now with the kids because they really enjoyed it. But after her birthday party, we usually hang out with them longer since we drove a couple-hour drive. And we went back to their house because usually the kids like to go back to their house, play. She's got this little ice cream truck that Hayes plays with. Literally, we were probably at the birthday party for 5 minutes, and their daughter comes up. Are you guys going to come over to our house afterwards? Hayes, I have the ice cream truck ready for you. So we went over. Hayes played with the ice cream truck. Him and her daughter were running around the house. And then we always go to this Mexican restaurant every year. There's like this greenery background. The kids do their annual photo there. And the whole way there, Oliver's like, Mom, my belly hurts. My belly hurts. It really hurts. I'm like, well, you had a bunch of sugar. You had cake, you had sherbet, you had juice, you had a bowl of candy, you had another thing of candy at our house. You probably ate too much sugar and you were running around. When we get there, we'll just try to go to the bathroom, right? Because, usually, like you said, if a kid isn't feeling good, they probably have to go. So he's really just miserable. So we get in there, they get us a table. And I said, do you remember where the bathroom is? Over by where we do our picture. So he starts walking and we sit down at our table and this lady comes up to me and she's like, ma'am, is that your little boy in the blue? I had to think about what he was wearing. I couldn't remember. I'm like, yeah. She's like, he just threw up. I was like, oh. So we go around and he's just sitting there panic mode. He's like right outside the bathroom and he just throws up again. And I'm like, come on, come on, come on. And then again, I was like, good. I got him into the girls' bathroom. I'm like waving to my husband, like, you need to get over here. And bless his soul, he's standing there like, deep breaths. He knew how to like calm himself back down. Cause when you get sick, it's like you get sick because you got sick, but he was able to control it and he just looked flush. I'm like, oh, great. Now what are we going to do? It was 7:00. The kids hadn't eaten. Do we just drive home? Like, we're like, let's get you cleaned up. Let's get you some water. We went out, sat down. He had some water, had some chips because he's like, I don't think I want to eat. And then within 10 minutes, he snapped back out of it. He was full of energy, totally fine. He was going to eat. So I think he just got himself so worked up. He had been climbing. He'd been doing all this, a ton of sugar, because not to gross anybody out, it was like just liquid. But then he was totally fine, like didn't get sick again. I felt bad for my friend because my kid just got sick and now we're sitting here eating dinner. I think he was embarrassed, but they got their annual picture. It was funny because her daughter and Hayes were like, do. It was almost like they were on a secret mission. They wouldn't walk where he threw up. They were trying to scale the walls. I'm like, it's fine. They cleaned it up. But they got their annual picture. We made it. We were able to still celebrate. But yeah, kids, when they get sick, it's just the worst.
Those annual traditions where you know what you're going to do, you get excited for it. It's like Omar getting excited for his breakfast on marathon morning and breakfast. I love
he got
I
it
know.
too.
I saw the picture because he posted it and tagged you. But
yeah.
He tagged me in and I was like, I gotta repost this.
Yeah. But I love those moments because you look forward to it every year and it feels like traditions in general just are awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like on my birthday, the only thing that I get is a bacon cheeseburger and I only eat it on my birthday. And that's just been a tradition And so I know, like, as soon as June rolls around, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get a bacon cheeseburger. But like a good one, and it's not that I can't eat it any other time of the year, but like when you go to that Mexican restaurant, it's not like you can't eat it or go there any other time of the year, but you know that every year that's
Yeah,
what you're gonna do. And it just is, yeah, I love that. Well, I'm glad it turned out better
for sure.
than it could have, because you just never
Gosh, I know,
know.
right?
But yeah, all that
Yeah.
sugar and just, yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of the weather, because it's gotten colder, we have it's supposed to get so cold. Like we've already gotten a 2-hour delay for tomorrow. So like there was a school for, I think, Fort Wayne Community on Friday already called their 2-hour delay for tomorrow because we're supposed to be like down to like 2 degrees. Like this morning it was 5. I think, what was it? I think tomorrow it's supposed to be like 3 or 4 degrees in the morning. So they've already called a
We've had
delay.
cold days.
Which,
Yeah.
yay, because all of us
Oh,
Indiana
yeah.
Hoosiers. Now, I'm going to just say right
So
now, I am from Indiana, but I went to Purdue. Purdue and IU are
okay.
rivalries. So I'm still watching it. I'm going to still root for IU because I am a Hoosier, technically. My sister went to IU. She's actually, her and her husband and their friends drove down to Bloomington. So they've got kind of like an in with one of the security cops for IU's coach. Lives down there. And so they're actually staying at his house over or tonight or whatever for the game. But I still will root for them because she went there. But ironically, when Purdue went to the Final Four, my sister refused to cheer for them. I'm like, they're still an Indiana like college. She refused, but then she was giving me such a hard time. Like, well, you're from Indiana. You need to root for IU. I'm like, listen, I will. But remember when you wouldn't root for Purdue? Just remember that. So I'm still, still rooting for IU. So all of us in Indiana are banking on that game tonight and then having that 2-hour delay
So
since we're staying up
I
late to
I
watch
know
it.
that it could be for the cold, but I also heard that the governor said
Yes.
that school districts could decide to have a delay because of the game.
People were
Yeah.
writing in and asking and begging. I saw one school that used it as a fundraiser to raise money to get themselves a 2-hour
Really?
delay. And they use that as
I
a
mean,
fundraiser.
okay.
Yeah.
Great. That's
Crazy.
great.
Smart.
I know. I was like, we're trying to fundraise for our 4th grade field
Yeah.
trip. We
Yeah.
should have done that.
Yes. But good. So, yeah.
Yeah. It just so happens that we are going to be down to 3 degrees in the morning. So, yes,
So it's
a 2-hour
justifiable.
delay makes sense. We lucked out. We lucked out.
So
Yeah.
y'all have the really cold weather. Apparently, there's an Arctic blast headed here next weekend. And they've already started talking about a mix of sleet and maybe snow down
Ooh.
Houston. Like we're talking like
Yeah. That's
South
big.
Texas. And it's going to get cold.
Yeah.
Like y'all are going to get cold too, Becky. But I'm like, wait, what? And so the meteorologist like, okay, well, we still got to wait. But like, I swear, as the day has gone on and more models have been run, they're like, so we may have stuff winter weather between Saturday to Monday. And I'm like, am I going to get Monday off work? Like, that would be cool. Because that happened a year ago, right after we finished Chevron last year. We got like a big winter storm. I'm like, man. But I'm really like banking we get like really cold weather next weekend. But so I was scrolling TikTok yesterday and I saw a girl in Florida. I don't know what part of Florida because y'all have had like cooler weather. And she found 2 frozen iguanas in her backyard, like on the ground.
Like
And she had
dead
like one that was
frozen?
like they were alive. It's just like it was so cold they couldn't move. So they were just like
Yeah.
on the
Like the
ground.
falling iguana.
They like really big one and then like a small little guy. And so she went over and she's like, okay, well, I read that you're supposed to get a box and then put them in the box and then lay a blanket or a towel in there and just let them warm up and leave the box in the sun. So she goes over to pick up this big one. And when I tell y'all, this huge, and she's like, please don't wake up on me. Please don't wake up on me. So she picks it up and like carries it into the box, puts it in a box and puts a towel over it. And then she goes and gets the little green, like one's like a brown and an orangey color. And that's the big one. And then the smaller one is a green guy. And so she went to go get the little green guy and put him in a box. And so then she goes back in her like the TikTok's a few minutes long. She goes back later in the day and the sun's out and the big one's like halfway hanging out and it's still just kind of sitting there like it's ready to go. Like it started warming up, but it was just like hanging there. She's like, okay,
half
dude,
still
I'm just gonna
frozen.
leave. Yes. She's like, okay, dude, I'm just gonna leave you and let you do your thing. And then the little green guy, that poor thing was still frozen. Like it just was kind of laying there. And so she like wrapped it up more to try to help warm it up. But I thought of you and I was like, man, I should have
Yes.
sent y'all the TikTok because it was
Do
just
that
so
next time
it was
because
funny.
I want to, I want to see that.
Yes.
There's no way you would catch me picking up a big iguana like that. No way.
I'm watching her and I'm like, she's got to be brave for the big one. The little one I could see, but this one was, I mean, and then she has the Jurassic Park music playing in the background.
Nice.
It's like
Well,
he does look like a little mini dinosaur.
Yes. So speaking of that, I did a thing this week. It was huge for me, which might seem silly.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I held
Did
a
see your
tortoise.
post.
So I don't even think I've ever told you guys this, but I have been afraid of turtles since I was in first grade. And I'm from a small town that is called Turtle Town, USA. Like we've got this history of Oscar the giant turtle and all this. So people are like, how are you from Turtle Town and afraid of turtles? Well, when I was in first grade, we all had friends over at my grandma's house at the pond to go swimming. Well, we lived right by my grandma. And I was going out with my mom. I was going to jump off our big pontoon without a floaty. And it was a big deal. And granted, my friend that was over was kind of scared of the fish. So she was staying up shallow. I was like, oh, it's just fine. If they nibble, it's not a big deal. We're paddling out to the pontoon, and all of a sudden, something bites me. And I scream. I'm like, and it's like started to pull me. And my mom's like, oh, that's just a fish. And so she pinches me in the butt. I freak out even more, thinking, oh my God, something else has me. And I was like, no, mom, like, seriously, it's not like it has a hold of me. It finally let go. I lifted my foot up and I saw just blood. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like panicking. We turn around. My sister like swam under me. Like, not a big deal, la la la. They don't understand like what's going on. They just think I'm overreacting. Well, we get out up into the shore, and my mom, my aunts, they all see, okay, this is serious. There's blood pouring out. They're like, get out of the pond. Everybody, get out of the pond. So everybody's swimming back to the shore. My mom calls the doctor. My aunt worked at the doctor's office. So they got me in, and because we had no clue what in the world this was. And so everybody, like all the nurses in the doctor's office come swarming in the room to look at this thing. They're not quite sure what it is, but they didn't do stitches because pond water. So I have a picture of my foot bite. There was like 3 little like bite marks by the, like, let's say this is my foot, 3 here, 2 here, and 2 here. The teeth mark were odd. And it just so happened to be our Turtle Days festival that weekend. And they had these turtle experts up there with these giant turtles, and we're walking around and looking at them. And the one dude looks at the bite marks and he's like, oh, that matches this snapping turtle. Now, we aren't 100% sure if it was a turtle, but it makes sense for it to be a turtle, a snapper, by the way their teeth mark were. It cannot be proven, but I to this day say it's a turtle, a snapping turtle, because of what evidence we do have. So I've just been afraid of turtles. My cousins would haunt me anytime we'd go in the pond. They're like, a turtle. And I would freak out. Like for the longest time, I was terrified to go swimming again. I would, kid you not, have nightmares about turtles. If I had dreams about turtles, it's like they were invading my house and attacking me. Who has nightmares of turtles? I do. I'm the weird one. I'm odd. But we had our like behavior coach come in this week with her pet turtle. Well, it's not a turtle, it's a tortoise. So it is different, but to me, it's all the same. And all the kids were like swarming her as she was like in the office. It was at the end of the day, and Oliver wanted to hold it. And like, you know what? This feels like the right time to try. I kid you not, my heart was racing. I was like so hesitant, but I did it. I held it. And everybody was so impressed. They're like, you did it. Like baby steps. It's going to take me a long time to get over it. But Oliver's like, can we babysit it, Mom? If she needs a babysitter, can we because he loves the turtles. Like, and I would get him a little painter. I think I could work with it, but it was a big deal for me.
We have,
was
I'm
proud of
not
myself.
exactly sure if they're called dens or burrows or like whatever, but down here we have gopher tortoises, and they're probably like, I don't know. It's hard to tell on camera, but like they're pretty big. And we have
Yeah.
3 of them in our backyard. Like there's 2 dens or whatever, and then there's 3 tortoises. They like my dog's pretty docile, but like they are not aggressive. So you should just come down here. We'll just, little more baby steps, because they've also come up to my front door. They've come into my garage. Like,
Oh,
like,
see, that's my nightmare.
but it's just like strolling up there. He'll like stroll down. I don't know if it's a he, but like he'll stroll down the street and like, cross the street, and I'll give him a piece of lettuce and,
The lettuce. That's what Oliver told her the other day. He goes, well, so I can babysit it. My dad makes me sandwiches and I don't like the lettuce on it. So I could just give him the lettuce. I'm like, Oliver, you have no problem with lettuce on your sandwich. He's like, yeah, you're right. I just get tired of having sandwiches. Like,
not if I made the sourdough for you all.
But yeah.
Then he would love it.
Yes, he would love a grilled cheese with sourdough, because that
Have
is
you ever?
so good.
Yesterday, I had a grilled
Yeah,
pimento cheese sandwich on sourdough. Have you ever had that? Have you ever had pimento cheese?
No.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
My mother-
I think it's a southern thing.
But like my mother-in-law was like, "Oh yeah, just make yourself." I was over at her house picking up my kids, and I was like, she said, "Just go ahead and make yourself a grilled pimento cheese sandwich." And I was like, "What?"
I've never grilled it.
With
I've only
crackers
had it like
or
cold.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, or like in sandwich bread. But yeah, I've never, because my grandmother would make like pimento cheese sandwiches all the time. Maybe she'd grill them, but I never had them. I don't really care for pimento cheese.
Yeah, what
it's
is
been one of the
it
things I'm like,
relative to? What is it similar to?
think of like a tuna salad, but
No,
cheese.
it's
like the consistency.
I
Like
know
the consistency.
You lost me.
Fake. I think it's the consistency of a tuna salad sandwich, but
shredded cheese.
Oh, so I will stay away.
I think it's really good. I didn't eat it growing up.
I think it has a funny taste.
No, it has no resemblance to. No.
Now I'm gonna have to go figure this out.
Go look at Kroger
for myself
and just find like the smallest.
I will.
Yeah,
I'm
find
looking it up
the
right now.
smallest like pimento cheese container, and then try it with any cracker.
Oh, see?
Are you not a mayo
mayonnaise
person?
with it?
Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah, I'm out.
See, I did a great comparison.
You did.
I did a great comparison.
Never put those two things in the same category.
I mean, I like a tuna salad sandwich,
I'm the
but
opposite.
I don't like pimento cheese sandwiches.
No, I do not. I'm like, I can eat tuna salad, but no, thank you. I would much rather have pimento cheese, and I didn't have it growing up. Like, this was definitely, I found out about it as an adult because of my in-laws. But
if it didn't have the mayonnaise,
it's kind of like the binder.
Might give it a go. I'd have to have an alternative. I'll be passing on the pimento grilled cheese.
I thought it was great, but I like pimento cheese.
So I have a story from last Sunday, and this is like a cool story. So race went great. I went about the pace that I said I would finish. Like I finished in 4:15. I stayed with the pacer the first like 13 miles, and then I kind of fell back, and my hamstring kind of like started bothering me around 20. So I did a little bit of walking between like 21 to 23, and then 24 there are two underpass things. So we almost like they're the last little underpass hill. Um, and there's two in a row. And as I'm going under the first one, a woman in front of me falls. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And so I go over to help her, and she just starts cramping up like crazy. She starts screaming. And another woman runs over, which I didn't know at the time was her daughter. Her daughter runs over, and I'm like, okay, take off her shoes, start stretching her foot. She's like, just rub my calves. And we're trying to rub her calves. And then I start calling for medic, like, hey, I need a medic. I need a medic. And she's just like, just rub, just rub. And so we're rubbing, and we're trying to like, at least ease the pain because she was screaming. And at one point I said, do you have anything on you? Like gels or salts? And she's like, no, I don't have anything. I said, okay. And so I'm whipping out my salts, my little salt chews. And so I handed her two. I said, okay, take these. And then the medics show up, and I've said, okay, they got you. I'm going to go. And so I went and finished. And as I'm going to, like, I get in the convention center, and there's like, you get your shirt and your mug. I got my mug. Um, and then you go to like family reunion area, because I got like my bag I checked and everything. And as I'm walking to like try to find Omar and our friends, somebody yells my name, and it's her daughter. And she's like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. She's like, my mom finished. And I said, thank God. Because she said it was her first marathon that she was doing. Like when we were like, I was helping her up. She's like, this is my first marathon. And I was like, okay. And I was like, no, we're going to get you back up. We're going to get you back up. And so her daughter stops me and says, I want you to know she finished. I said, oh, thank God. I said, okay. I said, have her like find me on social media. I said, I want to like talk to her and make sure she's okay. And so I told her that, but I didn't really hear anything. I found her on the app, and I saw her time, and I was like, okay, she finished. Good. She messages me Tuesday, finds me on Instagram, and says, hey, I just want to let you know, like, you're my guardian angel. Like, you saved me. She goes, I was able to finish, and I was able to finish with a BQ. So not only did she like finish her first marathon, she BQ'd. She's like, I just want you to know like how much it meant to me for you to stop. Like you gave your time to me. She's like, you could have been like doing your own race. And I was like, it's okay. Like I don't that she even told me that like on the course. She's like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? Keep going. And I said, I don't care. I said, I want to help you. Like, I don't care about my time right now. I want to make sure you're okay. And so ended up she messaging me later telling me like I helped her finish and BQ, and I didn't even know like she BQ'd at all. Like that was really cool. And she's like, I just want to
Yes.
thank you. So we are meeting next weekend for coffee. I now have a new
Love it.
friend.
I love it.
Just from like
Oh
helping
my
somebody on the course.
gosh.
So that was like my really cool story. And there was somebody who was like, you could have gone faster. And I was like, you know what? You don't know what my race was. You didn't know. I
Yeah.
much would have rather helped her. Her name's Cindy. I much would have rather helped Cindy than get my own time. I felt better helping her. I can run many more marathons. I'm fine. I felt better helping her. And then knowing that she be cute, I was like, that's even cooler. Like, I'm so
That's
excited she be cute.
amazing.
So,
Oh my gosh. I love those stories.
but yeah, that's my really cool Chevron story this year, which we
Aw.
joke I am Salt Lady, because last year I helped runners by giving them salt. Anytime we have new runners that show up to like our run club, and it's really hot down here typically and humid, they don't have salt. So I just carry extra on me, and I'm always like passing out salt tabs. And it's funny because like even in the store, the running store, they joke, they're like, yeah, people come in looking for salts and say that you sent them. And I said, yeah, they got to have salt tabs. So I'm Salt Lady. I just
Yeah.
need to have a shirt.
I'll make you one.
Salt Lady.
You need to reach out and be like an influencer. Like you could make money on this.
We
We
could
could get a
No, I should
sponsor.
I should tag
Yes.
Salt Stick.
Yeah.
Be like, Salt Stick, you
Yes.
saved us. You save us all the time.
Right.
Gosh. Oh, I love
Yes,
that.
yes. I love how stories come full circle. Like, we've talked a lot about our connections we've made. I mean, just the three of us connecting over the internet, how crazy in that bond. And then, Becky, you've talked about those personal connections and reuniting, and Katie, like, it's just amazing. And just the power of it. My own son, I feel like, already knows you guys. Like, he calls you by your names. When I was watching Katie on the race, he's like, "How's Katie doing? Where's she at?" We were watching the Bears game last night. He's like, "You should text Becky and tell her." I love that we've never met, but my kids already know you guys as like friends. It's awesome. And I just love this little corner of connection that we have. Thanks for sipping and sharing a moment with us today. We can't wait to keep showing up with you each week. Messy, caffeinated, and real.
And if you like what you heard, we'd be so grateful if you'd follow, subscribe, or share this with your teacher bestie, mom group chat, or training partner, or all three. It helps more people find our little corner of chaos and connection.
Make sure to hit follow so you don't miss next week's episode. And don't forget to connect with us on Instagram at Espresso Yourself Podcast. Tell us what resonated, share your own stories, what topics you want us to cover, or just come say hi.
Until next time, keep showing up,
Keep giving yourself grace.
And espresso yourself.
one
One
sip
sip at a
at a time.
time.